What's going on, restaurant owners? I want to tell you about the fun we're having and the connections we're making over at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. As a matter of fact, if you're enjoying the podcast, you're going to love the network because the network just mirrors what's happening on the podcast, but we're just going deeper and making connections. Not only am I connecting you with the leading restaurateurs on the podcast, I'm connecting you with the experts that they're going to become unstoppable. Just this week, the co-owners of Relish Bar and Restaurant in Houston, Texas joined us, and they brought their realtor with us, and we went deep into advice on site selection. We also had time to talk about tip pooling. It was great. You don't need to break the bank on restaurant coaching and consulting. All you truly need is peers, people who can reinforce that you are taking the next right best step, and access to an amazing network of the best. I can't wait to see you there. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, founder of Oyster Sunday and OS BENEFiTS, Elizabeth Tilton. My lady, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I am feeling unstoppable.
You
Eric.
are unstoppable. Yeah. I had fun doing a little research, learning more about you. I learned that you are not an oyster restaurant for a fact. Funny story, Irene Lee from May called you out like 2 years ago. And I reached out when I was driving through the area. And the whole time I thought you were an oyster restaurant just because I rely so much on like word of mouth and referrals. I don't do the research until you committed because it's a lot of work, you know? So I found out recently, and you know, I'm so stoked that we are here and that I got to learn more about you because what you're doing is really cool. I can't wait to dive more into who you are and what you got going on today. But let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or a mantra. What do you got for us?
I have two that stick out to me. The first one is seek, trust, deserve it is the first one. It came from a friend of mine from college that he had it above his door and I loved it. And the other one is actually it's a similar quote to what Will Guidara goes back to from Unstoppable Hospitality. What's it called? I missed the name.
Welcome Conference?
Yeah. Oh my God. What's his book name?
Unreasonable Hospitality.
Unreasonable. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Will. He has this quote that's, it's an iteration on that I've had since I was about 21 years old, which is, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And with that comes a consciousness of knowing that failure will not come. And what do you do with that? Power. I think it's power and like a consciousness of that.
And fear is the number one thing that holds fear of failure.
Totally.
And that's what holds us back. I'm guilty of it sometimes.
Oh my gosh, totally. That quote came to me when I decided not to go to medical school in pursuit of restaurants. So to me, it sticks with me, but I like the, if you know you can't in that, because there's a self-awareness in that.
For sure.
That requires,
it kicks on that frontal lobe.
Yeah, it does. It also it requires a stewardship of it. Like if you can't fail, then you know you can't. Like, what do you do with that power?
Yeah.
Is it for good or not?
Yeah. Let's unpackage that first one. Seek, trust, and earn it.
Yeah, and deserve it.
And deserve it. Thank you.
Yeah. To me, it's more of just that's the thing I think about with partnership, what I think about my husband, what I think about my family, my colleagues. It's more of like, if I show up every day and I do what I promise I will do and I show up the best version of myself, then they will trust me. And that's the biggest gift you can give someone is trust. Yeah. So that's something that I just go back to all the time is like, be good to people, treat them with respect, and show up.
Stephen R. Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, his son wrote a book on this called The Speed of Trust, which I really enjoyed. And that how fast things move along when there's trust. Yeah. You know, and just the power of trust, it takes years to earn, can lose it in one act.
Oh, you know? So quickly.
Yeah.
My always thing is that I start, every single person I meet has 100 pennies in a jar. Like I start off with that from the day one. And then most people in my life keep them, you know, sometimes they ebb and flow, but like generally. And so but I always lead with a sense of optimism. I lead with a sense of generosity of being like, I'm assuming the best intention for our relationship. And in that, like, earn it, keep it.
100%. Yeah. Great way to get this thing started. So obviously you got a lot going on today. And as hungry as I am to get into all the projects you have today, we can't not talk about your past. So you already kind of started off thinking you would be a doctor.
Yeah.
And when did this world of restaurants call your name?
Young, honestly. When I was in high school, even my parents talk about when we would go to like Sam's, where I'm one of 4 kids. We'd go to Sam's on the weekend to pick up a shit ton of
I
food.
love Sam's Club.
Yeah, Sam's Club.
Those hot
I'm a
dogs,
Costco
$1
girl.
hot dogs.
Oh my God, I'm a Costco girl myself these days. But generally, yes, my time was spent on Saturdays in between doctors' offices because my parents are both physicians, or Sam's Club. But anyway, we would go and I'd pick up recipe books, and like when I was in the 4th grade, you know what I mean? Like I was like picking up Joy of Cooking books, and I would cook scones when I was in the 4th and 5th grade. I loved it. I loved cooking. And then when I got to high school, I used to do these dinner parties just for fun for friends. And then when I got to college, I was pre-med. I wanted to be a pediatric oncologist. I knew that, was focused on American studies and bioethics, and was like sprinting at that at the University of Virginia. But then I decided to start a catering company my second year. And so in between my first and second year, before that, even starting that company, yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, no one should have paid me.
It's probably one of those ignorance is bliss situations.
Oh my God.
Where you
Yes.
did not know what you're getting yourself into.
I should not have been cooking for anyone that paid me. But I also started, to take one step back. I had started that summer before at a place called Sucre staging. They had just opened up. It was like the Lauderay of the South. And I had an exceptional stage that summer because I didn't want to go into like chemistry labs. I was like, that sounds painfully boring. And so instead I went to go cook, and
there's a lot of chemistry involved in cooking.
there is so much.
It is science.
Yes, there's so much.
They say that our relationship with food is what spurred the scientific revolution. Or just like hunting, started with hunting, because you had to make a prediction, make a thesis, make a scientific guess, and then you would study this animal and be like, well, if we do this, and then it was just like that's like the scientific process. I'm not really explaining it very well, but that obviously evolved into chemistry with cooking, and like if not for our relationship with food, we would have never discovered science. And then agriculture, it all started with food.
Yeah,
which
trial
is
and error.
Really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a very pointed moment where science and food for me intersected, but I'll tell you, but a little bit to tell you how that jump away from medicine happened was so I started a catering company second year, it was called Sweetology. What a sad name. Now I look at that, I'm like, I do branding. I mean, it was pretty good at the time. I was science and dessert. It made sense. I was 19. But here we are. Anyway, so going into my 4th year, I knew that I had to go take the MCAT. I'm severely dyslexic. And I knew I had to go apply for like extra time and get another neuropsych exam and do all these things where I was like, do I really want this?
Yeah, that's rare in women too, isn't it? Dyslexia?
Oh, I don't know.
Or
Maybe
I'm just thinking about colorblindness.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. But and so I was just like, is this what I want? And so I decided, I was like, all right, why don't I go cook for a year and decide whether or not this is it? Yeah. I'll come back.
I find that there's a lot of people drawn to the food and beverage industry with dyslexia. Have you noticed that too?
Yes.
I don't know if it's because I also have it. So I like you're aware of it and you seek it and you're like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like people who have dyslexia tend to be more right-minded individuals, more creative, in the moment, present, socially, emotionally intelligent, empathetic. And those traits do really well in the hospitality industry. We're also really good big picture thinkers.
Yes.
We see the big picture. We're not great in the details. But I don't want to speak for you. Would you say that's true or not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think so my mom's a neurologist, pediatric neurologist, and I got diagnosed when I was how old was I? I was in the 5th grade going to 6th grade. And at that time I was at rock bottom. I didn't think I deserved to be in school. I couldn't read. I couldn't read out loud. I would have panic attacks about it.
Anxiety.
I know it's real.
Into middle school.
Yeah.
I used that whole everybody in the class would have to take their turn reading. I would do the math I'd figure out how many paragraphs ahead are we, and I wouldn't even be paying attention to what was happening in class because I was practicing the whole time.
Oh my gosh, every time. But then also I could read and make up the words and figure out the context without having to know how to read it.
Right.
It was a wild time. But anyway, I remember getting the first time I got diagnosed. My mom, not that they didn't tell me, they just didn't want to make an excuse out of it. So they're like, hey, we're just going to adopt some things into your life. Not a big deal. We're just going to keep moving forward. Right. And I remember getting my first book on CD, for audiobook, and it was The Giver.
Oh my God. That's a great book.
Oh, it's such a good book.
Yeah.
It has such a soft spot in my heart. That and Forrest Gump, which you can get to another time. But I remember reading that book for the first time and hearing a full book and every word it was meant to be. And I was dumbfounded at like how much I loved learning. It was just one of those moments I was like, my whole world got reorganized.
That's what podcasts were for me in 2012.
Yes.
When I discovered podcasts.
Oh my God, godsend.
Like literally 18 hours a day, because I would
Yeah.
listen at times too, and I was like working for 9 hours, and I would just consume, and I found out that day that I was an Audible learner, and that's also how I discovered audiobooks.
Yeah.
And it just from there, it was like rocket fuel. Like I couldn't get enough.
It's amazing. I listen to podcasts all the time. Yeah. Anyway, that to me, I do think has become a superpower over the long run. But I remember like at that time trying to decide, do I go to med school or not? And I was like, I don't think I want that. And I went and cooked.
Takes
and then,
courage.
Thank you. Yeah. And I went and cooked, and then I was like, I like this. Let me just try one more year. and I never went.
Is it what you wanted, or is it what your parents wanted, or your family wanted?
Oh no, I love medicine.
Okay.
I still like, I hear them talk about like patients, not HIPAA compliance, all that jazz, but I hear them talk about circumstances or what they're battling with. And
It is fascinating.
oh, it's fascinating. My dad's a cardiologist. My mom's a pediatric neurologist, and I could listen to them all day.
Right.
Talk about all kinds of like cerebral palsy and, spinal bifida. And like, I would, and I remember like walking with my mom. Most of my childhood was spent in the, like on the weekends besides Sam's Club, go full circle, was spent in the halls of Children's Hospital here in New Orleans, where like I was meeting her patients as friends. And
So
I loved it.
Not to date you, but when did you graduate college?
I'm just kidding. 2010.
2010. So
Yeah.
you went straight from college. And this is, I'm just going to go a quick
Yeah.
LinkedIn run through here.
Okay.
So we get like
Go for
the fast forward version. 2010 to 2012, you're a head chocolatier at Sucre.
Sucre, exactly.
Sucre.
Yes.
Then you were a pastry cook from 2012, or just less than a year. You're a pastry cook. I won't say the names of the restaurants. Then you got into PR with Momofuku. I will say the name of that one because that's obviously stands
Yeah,
out.
the branding.
Did that for 3 years. So talk about, going from kitchen to PR.
Yeah.
This is why I really wanted to take time to dive into your background. And then you were head of brand for, I don't know what W&P is, but we can get into that. That was from 2015 to 2019. And then you were a member of the board of advisors for women in hospitality for about 5 years, and interim marketing officer for Noma from 2023 to 24, board member of Shaftesbury Cider. And then you have Oyster Sunday, which you started in 2019, and you're doing that to present day. And you also are rolling out Oyster Sunday BENEFiTS, which is HR. So we have a lot to unpack.
I do.
But where do you think it makes sense to go to out of that journey that I just did a 30,000 foot flyby?
I would say broad strokes. I got really fortunate in my career where and it kind of comes back to like, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? I made a jump leaving medicine to go to, pre-med to go to cook. And then when I moved to New York, I knew I did not want to be back of house anymore, and I wanted to go front of house. And so I started on the floor at Sambar, and then there was an opportunity to join the branding and marketing team. So the PR and marketing team up at the corporate, and I applied. And I just asked the Sue Chan at the time, who was my boss, like, who was your ideal candidate? And she was like, apply. And I got that role, and I didn't know. I mean, honestly, it was one of the biggest growth spurts I've ever had as professionally. And it was hard. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning, but I didn't also never touch a POS system before walking on the floor of Sambar. So but that doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
Like
So Sambar, is that one of the Momofuku concepts?
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many concepts did he have at one time?
Golly, there was 3 in Toronto, Sydney, several in New York, and then DC was being seeded to open, and then Vegas and LA.
So you had no PR background and you just threw your hat in the ring and...
Yeah, I was more on the marketing and branding side,
Okay.
but yes. Yeah, I joined the team. We're small and lean. Sue was running an amazing team, brilliant people around me. And we were just about 5 of us running the entire department.
Did you ever find out why you? Like what you had, like what they were
I was
interested
scared
in?
to ask. I feel like they figure me out, No, I had done some event planning stuff in the past, and I give credit to Sue for giving me a chance, because at the end of the day, if I was truly not qualified, but I think I knew how to, I was empathetic to restaurants and chefs. Like I think at its core, when coming at it from that, I could learn marketing, right? I can learn, and it's all evolving so fast, right?
And it's always changing. Whatever worked 2 years
so
ago,
much.
it doesn't work today.
I mean, we don't even talk about now. It's changing so much. But at the time, like, yeah, I mean,
started.
Instagram was just starting, and caviar and delivery was just starting. You know, it was a different time. And I think I had the insatiable curiosity to like try to get in the room and to try to learn. And I think I was very grateful for my time there. By the end of it, I was very tired, you know, to be totally honest. But it wasn't.
What was tiring about it?
I was always doing twice the amount of work to get to the outcome because I was learning for the first time. I'll chalk that up to my own self. We had a lot of responsibility.
It wasn't an easy organization to work for. Like they have high expectations.
High expectations were in a huge moment of growth. Not only were there the restaurants, there was the publication,
Tons of pressure.
yeah, and the culinary lab. There was so many things happening at that time. But I feel grateful to have seen that, and that was the reason that sparked Oyster Sunday, my first company. I was sitting in this corporate office, having seen for the first time, getting out of the weeds and seeing the 30,000 foot view in a literally an office in Union Square on like the 10th level or whatever floor we're on, and I was able to be like, wow, there's all these departments: finance, operations, HR, marketing, branding, that are all servicing Dave's restaurants. But why couldn't we take these same focuses and spin it out and service the 420,000 independent restaurants in America?
Right. So
that all need these foundations.
I should have started with this, like in one sentence, 2 sentences. What is Oyster Sunday?
Oyster Sunday is a consultancy at its core. We think of ourselves more as like strategic partners, but we are a corporate office for independent restaurants and hospitality brands. So we come in and be part of your company.
And what you have, is it 5 or 6 different categories? Mm-hmm. What are those?
Finance, marketing, branding, operations, HR, and then now a lot of like data and technology.
Yeah. Would you call yourself a fractional executive? In what kind of fractional executive? Because you're not. You're like kind of CMO, and would you say you're a CFO?
I think we do all the departments, so we can kind of come in. So my firm belief is that every single independent business in hospitality has an exceptional team. Like it's creative, but there can be gaps, right? So we come in to sit there and be like, okay, where's your strengths and weaknesses? How can we support your weaknesses to either stay on? We've had some clients who've stayed on for 6 years since we launched, or help you build it. Let's build it. Let's build the framework. Let's hire and let's roll off.
And then, you go fly on your own.
Exactly. So we do retainer and project-based work, but we've done everything from building out wine labels. We just launched Regina King, the actor's wine label. We've, as mentioned, helped Noma Projects in Copenhagen to really think about their growth as a company. We've helped open small boutique hotels. We've helped nonprofits.
Yeah.
We've helped everything goes as long as it's independent, has a point of view, and is in hospitality.
Yeah. And this is what got me really excited. And I believe that the fractional executives are going to be what helps keep independence going. It is a part of the puzzle that we're trying to figure out. I think it's heavily leaning on technology to learn how to do more with less, but then to outsource that management of the technology to a fractional executive, whether that be a CMO or a CFO. You guys seem to you don't do bookkeeping and taxes, do you?
We do not.
Okay.
That's like pretty much PR, bookkeeping, and taxes are the things we don't touch. And making the food.
I was a little stressed out because my current sponsor is Sorboni out of Texas. I'm like, I don't think there's they actually complement each other really well. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So
love to meet them.
Yeah, I'm happy to make that introduction.
Thank you.
And I do think that as we go into the future, this idea of reaching out to specialists, outsourcing, it's less expensive to work with a company like Sorboni, and I don't know what your rates are. I'm assuming it's probably less expensive than it is to go hire a director of operations. A lot less expensive. Yes. I don't want to make assumptions about your rates, but if you're working with independents, I'm assuming it can't.
We meet their budgets. Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
And in having those specialists and creating, I think it's also going to create opportunity for more people to come into this industry to be specialists and to be that bridge to help you get from 1 location to 10 locations if you ever want to bring it in-house. But even then, I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, because we do a whole lot of financial planning and forecasting for our operators, because we come in and say, okay, you're 1 location, you want to get to 6. Like, are we building out a commissary? Do we have cold storage? What locations are you looking at? What's your labor pooling and modeling? Like, we're doing all of that for operators. So we're starting from like, I have an idea all the way to like I'm fully functioning and running.
I love that. And we're going to get more into that. Same thing now, because if you're listening to this, I want to make sure you stay with us, because you have your newest project, OS. Do you just go by OS, or is it Oyster Sunday Benefits?
It's OS Benefits now. It used to be Oyster Sunday Benefits Program, of which has now been consolidated.
Okay. It rolls a little easier.
It does
OS
roll
Benefits.
easier.
What is OS Benefits in one sentence or two?
It is nationwide health insurance and wellness benefits made for and by the hospitality industry.
Okay. And why did you start this?
Because speaking of the financial modeling, we kept seeing all this need. People would come to us saying, I want to offer health insurance to our teams. And we're like, great, let's go get a quote. And we would get a quote and we come back, and the premiums are too high, deductibles are too high, and no one can make a big enough dent to even make it obtainable to have participation.
Which is crazy that in this country that we can't figure this out. And I don't know if many people know this, but your health, like I think debt from medical bills is the number one reason why people go bankrupt, which is scary. And if you're in the restaurant industry, you don't have something happens to you.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's incredible foundations out there. I'm thinking, is it Blue Smoke that was
Southern Smoke?
Southern Smoke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the work they're doing. Chris Shepard was actually called out on my most recent episode, and I had to leave Houston, and I feel good that Leonard would have hooked it up. But Chris, if you're listening to this, man, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
But it's a real issue in the industry. Health benefits and support.
Yeah. I mean, 41% of like working age adults carry medical debt.
Wow.
And it can start with $200.
I have all kinds of other debt.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have no medical debt. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I should not have said that out loud.
No, it's he literally knocked on wood.
Yeah.
No, but it's a huge issue. And I think that I'm someone who's like, as I mentioned, like insatiably curious, and I'm like have an immense amount of optimism that we can figure things out. And when I see something that's like, well, it's always been done that way, or this is how it just is, I'm like, oh, let's dig. Like, let's figure it out. There's got to be a new way.
Yeah.
And so we spent about 3.5 years thinking about how could we solve this, and what has led to the iteration of OS Benefits that's going out to market.
And that's your teaser, listeners. Stick around, because we're going to go in chronological order here, but I want to make sure if you're listening to this, you know what's coming down the barrel. And let's go back where we left off. But before, take a big swig of that wine. I feel like you've been doing so much talking. I'm like, this poor lady.
Santé. Cheers. Chin chin.
Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 and get paid $1,000 on top of that? If it sounds too good to be true, it's not. Restaurant Systems Pro is offering that deal right now to 10 of my lucky listeners. Listen closely. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge, and if you successfully improve your prime cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30 days the year prior, they will pay you $1,000. Find the link in the show notes titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-Day Prime Cost Challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 people are going to get approved into this program. Get on it. It is delicious, by the way. What was this?
This is the Montemilio out of Italy.
Oh my goodness.
In Umbria.
I love that.
Good.
Thank you so much for welcoming me with
I made New Orleans style
amazing glass of wine. And at any point, if you need to take a sip, you just tell me.
Thank you. Pause. I will.
So, okay, where do we leave off? You were with Momofuku, PR.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of got the aha moment.
That was the aha moment.
We need to consolidate this.
Yeah, for Oyster Sunday, and which came to life in 2019. But I would say that was the biggest, oh shit, this needs to exist moment. I've had 2 of those so far. And then after leaving Momofuku, I got approached by a company called W&P. We did industrial design. So we did like barware, cookware, things of that nature for companies like Williams-Sonoma, West Elm, Starbucks, Lucasfilms.
Oh, cool.
And I was the head of brand there. So I was one of the core team that joined. And then by the time I left, we were around 60 employees. So it was an enormous, I got to see there was how to build a small business, how to roll out 401k plans, health insurance, and the 2 co-founders, Josh Williams and Eric Prum, which is the W&P, they gave me a lot of trust. I mean, similar to Momofuku, I walked into a role being like, branding, huh? All right. I had experience, but it's CPG. It's like hard goods. I'm selling in shelf-stable hard goods into Starbucks. They're shipping me out to Seattle to take a meeting.
What kind of reputation did you have to be able to attract on to yourself these opportunities? Like, did you ever get feedback? Like, what are you naturally good at? What do you think it is?
Oh my goodness, Eric. I don't. I think I would have to have someone else answer that. I don't know if I can answer myself.
Do you ever get like little clues? Like, do people don't give you reinforcement? They don't give you compliments. They don't say you're really good at this.
Oh man,
I think that's how we become self-aware. Is the compliments, the reinforcement that people give us all the time.
But then I hear compliments and I'm like, oh, like shudder. I would say, I think some of my superpowers is that I'm definitely, I want to get it done. I want to do it right. I'm partially a perfectionist, and I'm also on the other end. I think it maybe is a dyslexia, whatever it is. If the world's moving here, I'm a little bit ajar.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about it a little bit differently.
It gets me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Because when I see the pattern disrupt,
yes,
I'm like, what? Hold on, what are we doing? Yeah, social media is really important, but can we talk about the bigger issue that it's fucking bad?
Yeah.
Like that there's a lot of negative that comes, but you got to do it. We have to do it. It's just like, at what cost?
Do you?
You know, like, do we really want to give Meta and Google literally all of our data? Yeah. Do we want that? Like,
right.
And I sound like a crazy person,
No.
but like, but I hear you, but it's like I think it's a superpower in people that we are led to believe we have a disability, but I think we also have some really good high level capabilities that most people seem to not care about because they're too close to it. They can't see the big picture. Yeah.
And I always think of it as like even in all my roles, I think of it as like this little, when you go to the eye doctor and they have those little prisms that fall into your eyes to find clarity. I think every time I do a new job, like I get deep in, you can tell from my resume, I'm in for years. Like I'm not going anywhere. But I always think of it as like, what are those tools you're gaining? What are the tools in your tool belt? What are the vantage points you're now looking through? And to me, I'm always take that with me.
Yeah. You have some, sorry.
Yeah. No. I was saying that, and that to me is where my clarity comes. It gets clearer and clearer the more I do, the more I learn from others. I love learning from others.
Yeah, I can relate. So, I mean, you definitely have some autodidact qualities where you're just self-taught, where you get in there and you learn on your own, which is a really hard, an uncommon trait. You know, I think that's really cool. Thank you. Any big lessons from the world of marketing and branding that you can share with us? If you could summarize that part of your life, how that serves you today.
For me, at the end of the day, I think through marketing and branding, people are looking at brands to find themselves, right? I'm a big believer that I guess let me take a step back. Like, during my studies at the university, a lot of the time was like, we're looking at nation states and you know yourself by what you are not. Like on the other side of the aisle, I am not, we're American. We're not from Mexico. We're not from France. Right. And I think in a branding sense, I take that with me where I'm like, what people want to do is they want to see themselves reflected in a mirror. They want to see a life that they can see or values that they learn or the values. And I think particularly as Gen Z comes up, like that is innate. Like people will value
why over what.
Yes. Absolutely. The why. And I've learned that through my own team that are Gen Zs, and I
hope they're our saving grace.
I do too. I do too. And we did a really fun project with OS BENEFiTS with some Tulane students only like 2 weeks ago. That was eye-opening. But I think if I were to take it back, what I've learned is that in marketing and branding, it's always changing and evolving. But the ability to be empathetic to your end user, the empathy it takes for that could be for product design, industrial design, food and beverage. You have to meet them with, I see you and I care about you. And that's hospitality in its own way too. And so
I think meet them, are you saying meet the client or meet the consumer? Client,
consumer, anything, right?
That is, I think Will Cadera says it really well, where hospitality is seeing and being seen.
Yes.
And I think it literally cuts into our DNA as who we are as a species.
Yes.
We are tribal. If we are not valued by our tribe, if we're not seen by our tribe, we need a place, because if we don't have a place in a tribe, we don't have a chance.
Exactly.
Because we need the tribe. So finding a way to add value and be seen for your value, and in that moment known that you're seen and appreciated, and that is reinforced. I think that like hospitality is literally, it's not an act, it's not a thing, it is who we are. as a species. And I think we don't look at it like that.
Yeah. And I think even going back to like the pre-med and wanting to be a doctor, it's like, I think the ability and willingness to serve others is innate in both of those practices. And so I think for me, it's like my whole goal, my whole life's purpose is to serve others. Like that is why I'm on this world. And I know that about myself, and it's to learn a shit ton and to care for a lot of people. And so that just is what drives me every day. And I think that it's, when it comes to marketing and branding, it's like, what is the values that you carry that you're trying to serve people? And are you talking to the right people?
Right. So you're really good at seeing who people are, bringing that to the surface to help them distill their why, their uniqueness, and to make that kind of forefront. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah,
I would say so. I think it, but I think I'm good at like the 30,000. Like where is the general trends going? And I work with people that are exceptional at saying, I see this one person.
Yeah.
I know Jim wants this, and here we are. And like, that's a whole different type of branding and loyalty and marketing that I think is beautiful.
And I want to get into the big picture stuff. I'm like chomping at the bit.
Oh, good.
Let's fast forward to where you are today. You saw this opportunity to bring everything under one house. And where did you, like, what from day one, was it finance, operations, HR, marketing, and branding, or did that evolve over time?
It was those 5 categories, and they kind of all turned on at different times based off the team structure. But
how big was your team when you opened? Because you weren't all these things, were you?
It was one. It was
you
me.
You were all these things. Well, how did you teach yourself all these things?
I didn't. No. I got independent contractors, people, and to help me out at the time. But I knew that if I was going out to market, and what I wanted us to be was all these categories. And so I put out into the world, this is what we do.
How did you find all these independent contractors, and how did you know that they were the best at what they did, that you could trust them to do a good job?
I feel very lucky to have a great network of people that I've met. And also I had a lot of friends of mine at the time who were going out on their own. And then shortly thereafter, we launched, in October of 2019. And I had made my first hire, Jessica Abel. She came from Union Square Hospitality Group on their business development team. I met her and I immediately was like, you're going to be my COO, like head of operations. And so she came on January of 2020. And then pandemic happened, and it was just the two of us.
Did you have to raise money?
No.
How do you get people to join something you want to do when you're not making any money to pay them to do it yet? Or did you get customers right out of the gates?
I had some customers.
Okay.
Yeah, I was fortunate for that. Just contracts here and there, enough to cover our salaries, or her salary, not necessarily mine.
I can relate.
Yeah. But I knew, and I had kind of put some of my own money into it to make it come off. It was like self-funded. And I could see where the good thing about agencies, it's like it's demand in, product out, demand in, product out. And you're constantly dealing with labor as part of that equation, right? It's your biggest cog.
Well, there's not a lot of cost of goods.
Exactly.
When you're digital today, you're just offering services. You don't really need overhead.
Totally. We're fully remote. I had a full tech stack. Things were cloud-based. The only reason, even writing down the idea in 2012, we were still tethered to Micros. Wow. And at Momofuku, Toast wasn't integrated.
And the world by 2019 had changed so much to make it more accessible, more doable.
And that's when I was like, it's ready. We're ready, because it just Toast became industry standard. Resi was up, and everything was cloud-based, and all these systems were talking to each other. And we'll get into technology and data in a minute, but that to me was like, oh shit, we've arrived.
Yeah. So the fact that it is now cloud-based, you can be anywhere and source the information, source the platforms, manage multiple different locations from one place.
Exactly. And multiple different companies.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that COVID, with everything going digital and everyone being remote, we started off remote from day one, both companies. And I knew that was a value that I wanted, was the ability to be mobile and freedom. And so that's why we had to build trust of saying, like, and I used to have to fly to go see everyone face to face. And now that's not the case.
I know. I still choose to.
I know it's a good thing. I mean, we get to meet in person. I think there's an amazing, and there's people we chose to go fly out to meet, even though it was not a requirement. Yeah. And we try to do that for as many people as we can. But yeah, so I knew from day one that was going to be the core functions. I knew that I was not good at all of them. And I really do consider myself that when I think about what my biggest asset is, and maybe this goes back to your question earlier that I skirted around because I don't have an answer because I don't like talking about myself, is that I consider myself to be the conductor. Like, I'm not the first chair cellist or violist, but when they're all together and they're in harmony and it's melodic, like I can hear it. And I can see the Tetris board of all the people that need to be in this, and what the customer needs, and what we have, and where our gaps may be at the time, and how do we fill them and meet them. To the point where, like, we got a bid out for a big lounge opportunity in airports. I was scaling out. I think my NDA is done. I won't say who. And this is 2020.
Yeah.
And we got down to one of the two last agencies for the bid, for the RFP.
Okay.
Went out to interview, like not out, but digitally interviewed. And they're like, so how big's your team? And I was like, to be totally honest, it's two of us and a lot of these, but this is our team. This is our team, but two full-time. And they're like, we're going to have to go with this company because you're a little bit safer. But we're the last two because we could see what they needed. Right. And we've always been that way.
This is for the airport restaurant concept.
This was before we had been asked to bid out for a lounge and we put an RFP in. But I'm using that as an example to say like we could see what all the pieces they needed. We could assemble that team to got us to the last round.
Right.
You know,
you get the money, then you bring the team in, but you need the money before you can.
But we already had some clients before that. But this has been transformative of our business. If we had gotten it, I'm glad we didn't because we stuck true to what our core was, which was independent hospitality businesses. And, but again, I just bring that up because like we knew with all those pieces they needed and we had people for all those seats.
Yeah.
Even going into something so young.
So Oyster Sunday is not a technology company. It's a service company.
It's a service company.
And again, those services, finance, operations, HR, marketing, and branding. We could talk about the evolution of finance and what you've learned and what you were versus what you are today. But for the sake of actually adding value to the listener, like relative to finance, what does finance look like through the lens of Oyster Sunday? Like when you're working with your clients, are you talking about financial models? Is it raising money? Like what is under the umbrella of finance?
I would say most of us start with financial review, analytics,
like
forecasting, pro formas. We do a lot of that, trying to sit there and say, where can efficiency be found?
So you're looking at P&Ls and you're looking for opportunity.
Whereas that side, or we're building it from scratch. Someone has an idea, they need to go out for funding. Okay. Those are the two sides of finance. I would say the one thing that shifted most is that the alternative revenue streams that people are looking for and being very cognizant of what part of their P&L they're prioritizing, that it can be balanced. We do a lot when it comes to labor, like the amount of people that are prioritizing benefits and all that we'll get to has increased. The cost of labor has increased. Right. Cost of food has increased.
It's one of these things where I like this. I've been saying it's getting harder and harder for good people to do good work.
Yeah.
And by good work, I mean honest work where you take care of people and you support local business and you pay people well. It's all cutting into profit.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to pay people well, if you want to source good quality products from people in your community, if you want to offer them health insurance, you're going to have to charge a lot more money. And then the consumer just goes, what the heck is this?
Right.
You know,
but I think that's being met with a lot of automation and efficiency, right? Particularly just the admin side of your business. I know QuickBooks has an amazing tool that you can automate a lot of your accounting needs. And I think that it's just this repetitive behavior that you can automate relieves a lot of people of time, particularly like management. So I think my general thesis is that people will have smaller teams and leaner labor models, but invest in people more because they'll find efficiency elsewhere. But it's not just people are all having issues finding people. So I don't think I think there will be a balance to be struck.
And I think that balance is, yes, the technology, but also firms like Oyster Sunday, like Cerboni, that are out there who are specialists and who can be masters in the technology. And we'll get to the technology, masters in the technology. So you can focus on what you love, the restaurant, the people, the relationships. And because you're masters in the technology, you can do more.
Yes.
And I think that's the rub. That's the secret sauce right there is fractional executives combined with rapidly evolving technology. Yeah. That's what's really exciting. I hope this is a saving grace for I don't see how the corporations can compete with that, because at some point, in order to compete with that, you have to sacrifice the human element.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain point where that will become so transactional. My hope is that the consumer will just be like, nah, I'd rather go have a relationship.
Yeah. I think they do. And I think that we're also talking to, as the next generation steps up and has more purchasing power, they spent a lot of their informative years not with others. And did the lights just go?
Is there a ghost in here?
There we go.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They spent a lot of their informative years alone and digitally, like because social media and all that jazz as they've grown up. And then obviously I don't want to bring up COVID too much. We have all been there.
Yeah,
We
I
get
try
it.
to skip over it.
I know, me too. But I bring it up because those are
have
5 years of
effects.
transformative where people, and so they're craving interaction.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm very bullish on restaurants and the hospitality industries, because that can't be automated, is that the intersection of humans. And I think that it will always be around for that reason. And
I'm super stoked that AI is going to, I hate to say this, a lot of white collar jobs are going to go away. And when that happens, we're going to be here. It's been hard for the past 15, 20 years finding people to come to our industry, but we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that I know a lot of people who work remote and they're not happy. They're missing a big part of their life, the camaraderie, the relationships in the office. And like those people, those jobs are going to start going away real fast. And I think that public health, mental health will be much better when people get back to working in physical space with each other and being seen and valued for what they're good at.
Yeah. And also even just in community with each other. I think it's important.
Right.
Yeah. But I would say, like when it comes back to our, what we've seen as it's evolved, like, we start with like the finance and we'll get into operations, which is like AI and everything from automation, tech stack, data management, all that.
So finance, raising money too, and that's what you guys do with raising money. There's a lot of resources out there right now. I'm curious about, do you look to resources out there like in kind, or what resources do you leverage when raising capital for staff or your customers?
I think the good thing about, for restaurants that are, 4 walls trying to raise, I always say most people who are investing in that is like to find a third place, to have passion for the chef, to believe in them. It's not necessarily to scale. Unless you're scaling, you're meant to be multi-unit.
So you're saying you're looking for investors that want a third place.
Yeah, that want to feel invested in this is like part of their home, right?
This can be your third place.
Exactly. I think inherently that's what they're investing into.
How do you find those people?
Well, a lot of chefs we work with have those people in their orbit, and then we're just helping them figure out how much they need to raise and what the capital is going towards, so they raise enough to not ask twice. Like that to me is the biggest thing we can do for them. Sometimes we help facilitate introductions because it's the right fit.
Yeah, and the number one reason why restaurants fail is because they're undercapitalized. They don't know how much they need. Whatever you think it is,
right,
double it.
Exactly. Go back to the numbers, and that's what we help them run that, so they can ask for the right value and the right amount of money and give realistic expectations to the investor of what they're going to return the investment. Also,
are you getting at least a year of operating capital after you open?
Right.
Because it's not enough to just get opened. You need to figure it out.
Right. And are you investing in the right stuff? Right. Like, have you made enough allocation to technology? Enough allocation? Yes.
I was literally hoping that would come out. People will spend $100,000 on a pretty floor. Literally.
Yeah.
Maybe not 100, but like $100,000 on brand new equipment,
right.
Brand new shelving, brand new tables.
Yeah.
And they will be like, I don't know, $2,000 a month for, some executive assistant or executive help specialists or technology. $600 a month for tech stack seems like a lot. Or like
$2,500 for all of my marketing, digital marketing. It's like that. You're not going to get far with that, So I think it's just our brand. Like I allocated $4,000 for a logo.
Yeah, I think people, it's kind of like my dad is a realtor, and he always say parents or children, like the young people, the young couples today get in trouble because they grew up in these beautiful homes and they think that that's what they're going to have. But they don't realize that their parents didn't start with that beautiful home. You don't go for the beautiful home out of the gates. You don't compare yourself to Danny Meyer out of the gates. Like, you got to build up to that.
Yeah.
These people, they didn't start with what they have. They started small.
Right.
And then their cash flow and their people determine their growth. You can't go for that out of the gate. You got to start small, and you got to prioritize people and resources. Yeah. The one question we always ask, and Jaleese is our head of finance and analytics. He's brilliant. He is here down here with me in New Orleans. But the one question we always ask out the gate, regardless of what work we're doing with a client, is, what is success to you? Because what you learn from that is you learn, how big do they want to scale? Are they meant to be single or multi-unit? Do they want a certain quality of life? Do they want, let's build to that. Let's not. What's the vision? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a coast to coast multi-unit brand. It can be a single brick and mortar and still be viable. And let's make that happen. And the biggest lesson I've learned, one of the biggest lessons I've learned on the show, is that success is relative. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of my pushbacks with the world of media, and, I don't want to get into that whole topic, but we create this image of what success is in the restaurant industry. And that image is not a real image. We forget that that image is a falsified image that we create to create a brand. And we're trying to draw consumers in, but there's a reality that comes with that. Do you really want that?
Right.
And are you willing to sacrifice what you will need to sacrifice to get that? Because that isn't what hospitality is about. And the people that get that don't focus on that, And I think that there's this image we're all chasing for what, I mean, am I out of line, do you think, by saying that, or do you agree or disagree with?
No, I think it's right now evolving. Now, I think there was this, particularly in the late teens, there was this, as we looked at other entrepreneurs that were scaling to scale, that was seen as the beacon of success.
The growth is how many units, how much total revenue. And
I think recently I was on Monday, I was at the Southern Smoke Foundation's symposium here, and one of the topics was about growth. And one of the questions asked was like, why do you have to grow? And two of the panelists said, you don't have to.
Well,
I think that's, you don't. Like, right. It's a great thing.
Well, the question is, what is growth? Is growth more units? Is growth more money? Or is growth making a bigger impact?
Yeah.
Is it doing what you did yesterday better today?
Yeah.
Is it growing stronger relationships? Growth is relative. And I think that we have to redefine what growth is. Growth is making your community better, creating opportunity for others. And I think that is the one right there. Why do you scale? Because if I don't scale, the people that I'm responsible for are going to hit a ceiling.
That is a huge one that came up time and time. And we get that all the time. It's being like, I want to hold on to this person who's given me so much. I want to give them opportunity. I think that, kind of going back to the finance, just keeping our finance hat on, something that we've seen a lot. And there's actually a restaurateur here called Robert LeBlanc and Smith. And he's, since last couple of years, has made everyone a managing partner.
And
I think it's a huge gift.
Yes. And I'm happy you said that, because while we're on the topic of finance, what are the business models going forward? And I think that is, and I say it all the time, I think that along with outsourcing and learning how to do more with less and leveraging technology, I think the future, the best, are going to be business models that have a lot of partners. And I think a lot of people hear that and they cringe.
Yeah.
Because like, no, don't have partners. But I don't know if you can be the best and not have partners.
And there's all kinds of ways of structuring those deals, right?
So how do you recommend people do that?
I mean, I think there could be profit sharing, rev sharing, bonus structures, true equity. But you have to realize that, like, when it comes to a company like a restaurant, what is the exit? Like, if you're giving phantom equity, which is based off of an exit or some sort of monumental event, like, that has to happen. And so you want to make sure that whatever you're giving, usually is a combination. We see an equity play mixed with bonus structure tends to be, it's incentivizing the day-to-day mixed with a long-term investment.
And what kind of cut do you see or recommend in order to attract that talent?
Oh,
what do
interesting.
you give them?
It's such a good question. I think managing partners, it's so at the discretion of the owner operator. I think it also comes into, like, what is there usually is the balance of, like, how much money has the owner put in with real estate, build out, all that stuff relative to the sweat equity someone's given. And then do you find that balance?
It's case by case, right?
It's case by case. Or you sit there and say, listen, benchmark stakes are that you get 15% of this business, 20%, 5%, 40%.
Right.
I think what I've seen most often across the board from our own clients and outside of our clients tends to be in that teen, like somewhere in that teens place where it's a huge investment, but it's not full. It's not like you're bearing all the burden of signing, lines of credit. There's a threshold where, like, that 18-20% starts getting into, like, what is a minority majority owner, blah, blah. So I think you're just trying to, and then that's a big deal. But I think bonus structures really help to, even if it's not the managing partner, but, like, what does the management level get?
These goals, anything above that, we do, like, some kind of
bonus payout. Yeah. I think those are super incentivizing. And I think it's particularly if you understand what your KPIs of your business are, and you sit there and say, our key value is retention, loyalty, BEB sales, whatever it may be, and say, I want this, like, as an owner, you're thinking to yourself, what is going to turn the leaf for us as a business to change it or to, like, grow.
Yeah.
And then you incentivize accordingly. And those incentives can change. It could be, a yearly, quarterly,
and the
half
cool
year.
Thing, and we'll probably get into this with operations when we get into that, which is going to be our next topic. This could be a great segue, is that the technology today, the data that you get is like a scorecard on steroids.
Yeah.
Like you can have so many KPIs to add bonuses for and to add. Before we move away from finance and raising money and this idea of scale, I really love what Uptown Hospitality out of Charleston. Are you familiar with that?
I am
group?
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. What they do, I love. They're another one of these groups that like I think a majority of their management are equity partners in their concepts.
That's great.
And the way that they do it is they say, well, do you want to be a partner? This business is valuated $2 million. All you got to do is put up 1%.
Yeah.
Put up 1% and we'll make you a partner. But that makes them, and you can't let anybody be a partner. They have to be vetted and with the organization for a certain, I think it's 5 years, a minimum 5 years working with a company. But if you can put up $20,000, then you can be an equity partner. But they're putting money in. You're raising capital. If you're going to give up $20,000, you're going to take it seriously. And and I think that it's such a low barrier to give people a leg up. And I think that is brilliant. I want to have them on the show and I want to teach people how to do this. I'm not good in the details, but I see things like this happening. I think that really excites me.
Yeah. I think same with the Southern Smoke Symposium on Monday, Max Goldberg from Nashville, who owns many awesome operator. Just admire the work they've done up there.
Had Ben and Max on the show.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. So cool. Okay. I'm glad to hear that. But he brought up, one of his goals, they have many values, and one of them was to create institutional, generational wealth and investment for their team. Like that is something that is thinking about well beyond our own generations and investing into the next. And that is one of their core tenets, which I just loved because it's making, so he does have, he was just very open about his managing partners and all this stuff. And I was like, because it is a core tenet of theirs. And as a result, they have people that have stuck around and doing great things.
I'm so proud of the restaurant industry right now. Because what I was looking for in 2012, when I discovered podcasts and people sharing information, we just weren't doing it in this industry. If they were doing it, I didn't know where to find it.
Yeah.
But now it's like abundant. Now it's happening. Now it's the way. And I think I actually recorded a video this morning saying, when I think about the work I want to do, I want to be a dealer of hope. And I think that in people we find hope, and finding people who are doing it and making an example, painting the picture for these, this is what hope looks like. And we can have a shared vision for the industry, and we can literally manifest our own destiny for the industry if we have a collective vision.
Yeah.
The only way we can do that is if we talk and share about what's possible.
Yeah.
And Max Goldberg, Keith Benjamin, the Uptown Hospitality Group, what they're doing, we got to amplify these people.
Yeah, totally agree. And there's some great examples all across the country. It does give me a whole lot of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,181. That was my Max Goldberg. If you're listening to this and you want to check out that episode, 1181 was the episode number. Okay, let's move over to operations. Okay, when I think operations, I think technology, and I think it is all one. Operations is also finance. I would say those are one and the same too. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the reason, actually, I should have answered this. I should have brought this up earlier. The reason why we went after all of these categories of a business, those 5 pillars, is because we think that I'm a huge believer that an interdisciplinary approach is crucial, because none of them can sit on on their own. Like you can't do finance without thinking about ops, without thinking about HR, without thinking about it's all connected.
It's a bush. It comes back in.
Totally. So that's the reason why we did all these.
It's not a hierarchy with branches.
Yeah. No. You can't isolate over there and then that one over there.
I try to categorize the content that I create. I'm like, what category does this go in?
Yeah. It's all connected. And so that's why. So yeah, they're completely tethered. And it's funny because before operations were it still are. Don't get me wrong. Were SOPs, critical path management. Steps of service, those are inherently still part of operations. But I think as people think about, that's kind of people assume that, or you can get to that pretty quickly. And then it is the technologies, what's your tech stack? What are you tiering out? What are you prioritizing?
So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say your point of sale is your heartbeat.
Right. So I am curious, and a lot of what I try to do with my interviews is to dig for leads, for recommendations.
Okay.
So in 2025, if you have a dream client, and you get to say I'm going to build you a tech stack. Here's what I recommend.
Ooh, fun.
Maybe at one location, and then again at say 4 locations looking to get to 10. What would you recommend?
What the tech would actually be?
Yeah. Or would you say if you're at one trying to get to 10, do you go all in at one location for the 10? Or when do you build and grow?
Yeah, no, I'm a huge believer that as long as you understand the technology and the data set to go to the next. So let's say you have a point of sale system reservation and inventory management, but you didn't get some sort of analytic dashboard, right? But that's a good one to go to in the future, but it's just like, I'm not going to manage it. I don't have time to clean up the data. And also tech is only as good as the data you feed it.
100%. And by that, if you get Restaurant 365 or Restaurant Systems Pro, paying the monthly bill does not mean you just bought yourself a responsibility.
Correct.
And you need to have somebody who knows how to do it right. And your team will only buy in one time. So if you don't do it right the first time, good luck motivating them and getting them excited to try to do it again.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
And also having to retrain
right.
But so my biggest thing is saying, okay, so let's say we're not ready to go to some sort of analytics dashboard or some aggregate. That's fine. But then how are we setting ourselves up to make sure that all of our data is clean so when we're ready to go and we make that investment? There's a really great company out of here called Ingest that I think is great. And we've worked with them on some of our clients, but we know that a single brick and mortar that doesn't have the bandwidth to manage their data and to look at analytics to get flash reports, it doesn't, they shouldn't be on it yet.
Yeah.
And we've been, I've talked to the founder there, Dan Meth, he's amazing. And, it's very clear. We're like, yeah, we get it. Not a good fit, and so anyway, all to say is I think it's a stepping stone. I think you have to sit there and say, my tech budget is X, Y, Z. I think it's X in 2025, Y in 26, Z in 27. What are the products that I need in that budget and constraints to get to multi-unit? And then what tech do I need when I don't have it now? I think things like Opus is a really great one, but it's more enterprise, right? So then, and I think a lot of technology starts with a small business, like independence, and goes enterprise quickly because they realize that's where they scale. So it's more of saying, okay, if we're meant to scale, we're trying to get to that point. What are we building ourselves toward to get to that leap?
Right.
Yeah.
So to start, for training, you recommend Opus out of the gates?
Oh, no. I think they're amazing. They're expensive. They're for a single brick and mortar, they're definitely an investment. I would say like point of sale, something like Toast. I think a lot of people are biting at their heels. I'm interested by some new like Ponzo that's come out, Spot On.
I'm happy you said Spot On. But
oh, good.
So yeah. What was the other one you said?
Ponzo.
Ponzo, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a new one. They're doing a lot of different. They're kind of aggregating and pulling together a lot of disparate tech stacks. So thinking about catering and a lot of different stuff all into your point of sale system that would otherwise be transactions and third parties.
What is this called?
This is Ponzo, Panso.
First time I'm hearing about it.
Yeah.
Is there a jazz show going on next door?
I think there's a jazz show going outside. How New Orleans of us.
I know.
I know.
And I could tell that you're a little stressed when you heard the piano going. I record in restaurants. This is nothing.
I mean, honestly, it's really nice vibes. I'm intrigued by the music. I'm here for it.
I had Opie Amosu on the show from Chopping Block in Houston. Amazing African cuisine. What he's doing there with fast casual, cool stuff. But it was like a bumping scene.
Oh, really?
It was like happening, and we made a podcast happen.
Amazing.
So don't worry about the piano.
Great. Well, then I won't worry about it at all.
Why Spot On? What has your interest in Spot On?
Well, how about this? I'm most familiar with Toast. We use it most often. It's industry standard, I'd say. I think, and I'm still a Toast fan. I know how to use it. I think it integrates well. I think people are trying to figure out what data they own, what data they don't, who's integrating with whom. I think Spot On's trying to be more adaptable. I think when it comes to the reservation systems, it's amazing to watch.
What do you mean? What do you mean by more adaptable?
More accessible. They're trying to integrate better. They're trying to be more agile. Yeah. How about that? Agile.
Yeah. So,
I think Toast has become really rigid.
Exactly the words I was going to use. It's either you're on our platform, you play with us, or you don't play. We don't. They're very close. It's kind of like how their credit card processing, the new cloud based. They're closed systems. It's like you're either using us and what we got, or nothing at all. And Spot On's trying to play well in the sandbox with other companies.
Exactly that. And that's why, and I appreciate that. And again, it's an amazing thing for an employee to go from a Toast to a Toast and know how to use a point of sale system because they're already educated on it. Right. That's a gift. Right. That's a huge gift.
It's like putting on your resume like Microsoft. Like,
exactly.
How to play and use the tools. But
and they're leading POS, and I think Square Restaurants is biting at their heels. And I'm curious, but I think there's a new era of point of sale that's coming out to market that's trying to be more agile that I'm very intrigued by and watching.
Yeah. What do you think about the rumors that Square might be purchasing Restaurant 365? Have you heard of that rumor?
I have not heard of that rumor actually, but now you say it, I'm like, huh. I wouldn't blame them if you have point of sale and you're trying to do inventory management. A lot of these roll-ups have already happened, like Margin's Edge.
But how many restaurants that use Toast also use R365?
Oh, so you think they'll pull the customer base over?
100%.
Do you think that they wouldn't use Margin Edge though, in terms of that integration?
Here, I tend to lean. I think Margin Edge is a great company, great technology. I lean in the direction of, to your point, what is your goal? Are you trying to scale?
Yes. Do
you want to get to 10 locations? Do you want to be like the spot in your market for X, or you want to work with different people and help them develop their concepts? But you want to have what is your goal? I think that if your goal is to get to 10, treat your little business like a big business.
Yeah.
And start from day one. Build the house before you move into it. And I would say implement a tech stack from day one. You might have to do some volume in order to justify that. So figure out what that throughput has to be from day one and reverse engineer it. Like make sure you have the capacity to pay for it. Right. Yeah. Where was I going with this train of thought? Tech stacks.
But 365 and Square.
Right.
Yeah. Integration.
So I think because it's getting more and more expensive, you need to lean more on tech. And if you can build it from day one, and then instead of trying to build it out while you're in flight, and I sometimes wonder if that's the best way, but at the same time, is it an unnecessary cost? But at the same time, does it not pay for itself?
Right.
If you do it right.
I think it depends on how fast you're scaling. I mean, first and foremost, any operator listening, it always does not hurt to ask for a cost break. If let's say you're going to Restaurant 365, you're going to 5 locations, you want to make the investment, you should absolutely be asking for the onboarding to be in kind or to defer some sort of payment, because it can't hurt to ask.
Right.
To be like, hey, I'm not there now, but in that case, if you can defer payment, you can make the economics work. I can see making an investment into that. And I agree that you should always get the tech stack that you need to make your business viable. I'm just thinking when I go into these, there's a company called Bicky for digital marketing.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So, and I think Loyalist is a great option for small business right now. And we'll get into marketing in a second, or Opus, as I mentioned, for trainings. But there's other options that are smaller in scale. But Rachel and what she's built there is remarkable. But they are enterprise, so you can't. But it doesn't make sense to have a one brick and mortar enterprise level training system. You have to have stepping stones. But you should know is what format files do they need. When you're trying to transition over.
Right.
That to me is where I go with. I don't disagree with you about. There's certain fundamentals that you should absolutely invest into.
I just don't believe in the app trap of having one payment for one solution and having to duct tape all these things together. And God forbid somebody doesn't decide to change or sell their company, and then your integration, the thing doesn't work anymore, and try to move all that data around between platforms. If you can go to an enterprise solution, and when I say enterprise solution, I'm talking about an R365 or a Restaurant Systems Pro who sponsors my show. I am curious. One of my concerns with technology is that there are not enough players in the game.
I think they're never enough. I think sometimes I feel like there are too many when everyone's trying to wedge themselves into your tech stack.
I can go back to 2017 and there are a handful of POS companies that I feel like were in the run. It was Toast, it was Breadcrumb, it was Revel, it was,
names I've not heard about in a while.
But they were all there.
I know.
There was fragmented. And then Toast came out as a clear front runner. And I don't know what percentage of the market Toast makes up, but I would say between Toast and Square, we're probably looking at close to 70% of the market.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I would say.
That's just that creates stagnation. When we don't have competition, you don't have innovation.
Yeah. Same with health insurance right now.
Right.
But whole nother topic.
We got to make sure we save time for that too. I haven't forgotten. I'm having fun talking to you.
I know, this is so much fun. Yeah. I definitely think there is, but I think that's why the Ponzos of the world are coming out. That's why Loyalist is coming out. Blackbird, there are players coming out.
Loyalist and Blackbird, what are those?
So Blackbird is Ben Leventhal's new, they're doing a lot of a loyalty play with the ambition. marketing with the ambition of being a payroll payment processor.
Okay. Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 month over month and get paid $1,000? That sounds like a deal too good to be true, but that's exactly the deal that Restaurant Systems Pro is offering 10 of my lucky listeners. So why are they doing this? Because they consistently help their clients get between 15 and 25% profit in their business. And when they approach new clients and say, I can do the same thing for you, they get met with a lot of resistance. And because it sounds too good to be true, most restaurants think if you do between 5 and 10%, you're doing good. So to hit 15 or 25%, like what do we have to sacrifice? What scam are you throwing at me, sir? No, thank you. But the truth is they really do help people hit these numbers. And the way they do it is by having all the most important systems that are tied to profitability fully integrated into an enterprise solution. I'm talking like accounting, inventory, scheduling, checklists, training systems, general ledger, balance sheets, costing cards. So when you have all those systems dialed in, ironclad, tied, connected, fully integrated in an enterprise solution, you get data. And when you have data, you can make little tweaks here and there. And those little tweaks, you can see the fruits of your labor, the effects of your efforts. And that's how you hit 15 and 25% profit. And on top of all this, they also have support, which is unheard of in today's age. So you get all these things compounded that help you hit that 15 to 25%. And if I have your attention, keep listening. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge. And if you successfully improve your prime cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30-day period last year, they will pay you $1,000. If you're listening on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, find the show notes and we will have a link titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 spots, guys. Do not wait. Get your spot, lower your prime costs by $1,000 and get paid that $1,000. They're actually calling this a reverse guarantee. Get on it.
So Blackbird and loyalists are both doing loyalty plays different ways, but they're realizing that the finance, sales, inventory has been aggregated on the loyalty customer data side is now trying to be. I'm really interested about Blackbird because I think something that's happening is people are wanting to own their own data. So
as they should.
But like a lot of the pushback with these third-party delivery services was that, they owned the data and the restaurants didn't own the data. So we didn't know our customer base. Now we're starting to own more of the data, or at least have access. How crazy is
that we don't know our customers?
I know.
Can I just point out the ludicrous statement that is? This industry was born out of relationships. It's all about relationships. Yes. And I think we've lost sight of what the restaurant industry is. It's become so transactional that when we don't have an ability to communicate with our guests, that we accept that because we have access to a third-party marketplace, right, that we have no control over how we show up in that marketplace. Like we're just so heads down lost in the four walls of our business that we have no idea what's happening to us.
But I think it's being prioritized more than ever, like doing digital marketing, doing loyalty programs, so on and so forth. But I'm interested because like Blackbird, you basically take your data with you. And I think when I think about, again, I'm going to go oscillate between healthcare and restaurants. But on the healthcare side, having your own medical records now, digital medical records is like a whole thing that you carry your own. So I think there's something in that. There's something that's similar in both of those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's just touch on HR real quick. Are there platforms, front runners that stand out to you? This is me selfishly looking for testimonials and recommendations.
Oh, yeah. I would say, when it comes to payroll, we've seen everything from Gusto, Paylocity, Paycom, so on and so forth. Some people go to ADP for PEOs. I think it's a scattershot. I think a lot of people are using Toast Payroll because it integrates with scheduling and your POS system, which makes so much sense. I think that they're changing a lot of that right now. I think that they had
being Toast.
Excuse me. They purchased StratX in 2019, and I think that they're really evaluating that integration and what other integrations they could be doing. So I have a feeling you'll probably see that to be changing pretty soon.
Okay.
If I could, a little finger in the air, wind blowing, read the room. I can just kind of see it, the painting, the writing on the wall.
Yeah, Gusto used to be a past sponsor. I've been thinking about reaching out to them again to see if they want to dance again because I've been hearing good things.
I mean, we use it at Oyster Sunday.
Yeah.
We like them. But it makes more sense for my business where it's like salaried employees, very consistent. I understand if I were running a restaurant, having some sort of integration with my POS system makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Before anything else you want to mention relative to HR, that element of your business that you offer with Oyster Sunday? I always want to call it Sunday Oyster for some reason. I know if it's my dyslexia flaring.
Yeah. No, I would say the only thing with HR is that we do a lot of compliance, employee handbooks, and a lot of cultural handbooks now. Not just the legal documents of what does it mean to be an employee, but how do we...
What does it mean to be us?
What does it mean to be us and an employee? And that, I love those. We did an amazing project with the Perriam Hotel Group, and did looked at their entire training manuals and what does it mean, the cultural handbook of that. And that's something that we're seeing a lot more demand of, not just the transactional documents that we have, but what does it mean to invest into this culture?
Got it. I had a question. I lost it. Sorry, I'll come back to me.
No worries.
Back to me marketing. You mentioned Bicky. What is Bicky?
Bicky is something we used a while ago. They're now enterprise, but they're doing a lot of digital marketing, aggregating customer data to then segment and to really specifically talk to people uniquely. So as a digital marketer, you can see someone who came in the first time, 1,000 times, never been, but on your mailing list. But they're integrating with POS systems. Loyalist is doing that play now. That I think I'm really intrigued by, because you had just so much more knowledge about your business when those data sets cleanly lay over each other.
Right. So instead of just doing a blanketed LTO, limited time offer, you can be like, this person comes in and they get fish every time they're here.
Every time.
Let's customize an LTO for that individual or that avatar.
Yes.
We can group these types of people in.
And you can do all kinds of segmentations. That's something we were really excited to work with them. They ended up, again, moving to enterprise. It did make sense for our clients anymore, so we offboarded.
Yeah. I'm happy you mentioned that, because that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I feel like you get all these companies that start out and they sound so good. They're like, oh, this is great and this is leveling the playing field. And then they quickly realize that in order for them to make money, they need to target restaurants that have 20 units or more, because that's where the money is. And then the independent is like, oh, well, so much for the leveled playing field.
Yeah. I mean, it happens time again. I can't, as an owner operator, I get it. Totally get it. And no knock on any of them.
You got to make money, right? That's capitalism.
But I think what it does, it leaves opportunity for those who really care about the industry, who want to deal with SMBs. They can get in and do something powerful. That's what we're doing. Yeah, exactly.
People climb the ladder. They start with the little guys and they move on to the big guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
that's why I love what we do.
Yeah. And I'm excited too. One of my biggest hopes for AI isn't in the LLM side of it and the aggregating a ton of data and spitting out answers. It's going to be when we can teach it to do things like develop technology in programming and create solutions specific. I think my concern is that we're all going to use the same AI tool, and that it's going to become a kind of a same situation where we all default to Chat GPT, and then there's no other room for the other AIs to evolve, and it becomes another Google, where they just own everything because they have all the resources. I think we have to be very intentional about fragmenting AI and spreading out that game so we can use it on a small scale.
I know that Bezos right now is doing a new AI company that's basically taking, and I can't remember the name of it, excuse me, but it's not based off language models, but it's based off of tactile. So the idea of going into the world and seeing and touching things and then building models off that. So it's not just about the aggregate of the internet. And I think it's called global language models, or something that's tactile.
Using the cars that drive around and do Google Maps to
stuff like that. And so I'm interested to see what happens. I'm not saying it solves our problem or our needs, but it could,
Yeah, but I hope that as AI evolves, we can fragment. There's a book out there, my listeners already know what I'm going to say. Power and Progress by Doron Okumloglu, I think I'm saying his name correctly. He's a professor at Harvard or MIT. It's called Power and Progress. He also wrote Why Nations Fail.
Oh, fun.
Same author.
Yeah.
And it's an anthropological approach of technology over time, and how whoever controls the technology controls the agenda, controls the narrative, and what we're looking down the barrel of right now, and how we have to be very intentional as conscious capitalists to what we and who we invest in.
Oh, I would love to read that.
It's really
Sounds
good.
amazing.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my sister, actually, I'll give a little plug to her. My sister's a professor at the University of Richmond, as is her husband, who's a big data stats guy, and she's digital humanities. And it's amazing because they've been tackling, they had a National Endowment Humanities grant, NIH grant to basically digitize all facial recognition of the Library of Congress's,
Oh, wow.
like, library of photography, of certain eras.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way their mind thinks. So you realize this stuff has been around for a long time. It's just how we're utilizing has become more digestible and more obtainable. We use a lot of small language models for, even at OS BENEFiTS, we have this kind of like individual, or this person, I guess this persona, her name's Pearl, and she's the one who speaks all the time. Persona.
So Pearlsona.
Yeah, at Oysters, you get it. Anyway, so she has a very clear voice, and we run everything through that model, to pump out. And I think when I think about things that restaurants can adopt quickest, let me take a step back. I have two things I want to talk on tech before we move forward. I'm so intrigued by the reservation system, Resi versus Open Table.
Oh, yeah, marketing. Sorry, I was excited for this one too.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I know we have so much more to cover. We could talk to you all day. I'm really intrigued by the Resi Open Table. I think the one thing that stands out to me is Open Table looks more like a tech company than ever before.
Yeah, they came out of the gates the clear front runner. They were like the reservations platform. Then they pissed off a bunch of people. And then they went, oops, and we got to change the way we do things. And they have done a 180. And continue your train of thought as to why.
I think they've become unbelievably, I don't want to use the word relevant, but just adaptable to what owner operators need, and it's very interesting to watch it from afar.
Yeah, that's another one that scares me, where there's like two companies, like legitimately two companies right now. It used to be three. Talk was in the run,
but then they got absorbed
by Resi.
Yep.
And we literally have two companies in the second largest industry in the world, hospitality, food and beverage, that control all of reservations.
Yeah.
How do we get here?
Yeah. I think it was a marketing channel mostly, right? Like,
this is why I struggle having sponsors lately, because I want to talk real shit, and you can't.
Yeah.
If they're paying your bills.
Totally. I mean, we're lucky to be brand agnostic. We have preferred tech stacks, but I think my biggest thing is, like, if you live in, somewhere in Oklahoma versus New York City, you have two different choices of reservations that probably are very clear what you need to do.
Yeah, it's case by case. Like, what's your market? Like, where are the people?
Exactly. Right? And I think that you just have to make that choice. Both will get to the end result, right? And both will hopefully play nice in the sandbox for a long time. But I'm really watching Open Table right now because I'm just they're becoming so innovative.
Yeah.
And so adaptable that I'm really excited to see what they do.
Which innovations have you the most excited? And then I promise we're going to switch over and we're going to talk about OS BENEFiTS.
Yeah, totally. I would say that they're actually Cheryl, who's the VP, was at Southern Smoke Foundation's symposium on Monday in New Orleans. And she was talking about so much around just all the work they're doing with AI in the back end. And a lot of it, even just reviews, like to respond to reviews, to queue up and to have like a 90-something% chance of not editing it and submitting because it's in your voice, like because they're aggregating all of your previous reviews and responses. Like, that stuff to me is like, that saves time.
Yeah, but what if you're coming out of the gates with that technology and you don't have an aggregation of backlog data of your tone and your voice?
Totally. Then you got a lot of work to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But you could do it off of their Instagram. You could be on their social media. You could be on their mailing list and aggregate.
Like an LLM, like, this is my tone and voice.
Exactly.
Like, you can train it.
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes. So it's like this, like, is that really like hospitality if you're having a bot like communicate for you? Are we losing the human element? But I would argue at the same time that the consumer got way unreasonable with their expectation for us to be able to be present digitally and in person.
Right.
It's like there was like an imbalance there where like being in the restaurant industry sucked because you're being pulled to be compounded. We didn't get into this industry to sit at a computer all day and to message and chat with people. Like that expectation from the consumer is just wonkers.
Well, also our communication touch points were so disparate, where you could come in through social, email, in the door, text someone, so we had some omnipresent. You're always on. And I think that was one thing we did for a couple of our clients, saying, okay, what communication streams do you want to manage? Like, where is your email? And then your reservations and Instagram, your Instagram direct message. Great. On anything else on Meta, so Facebook, whatever, we're going to have an auto response being like, thank you so much for your inquiry. If you'd like to talk to us, please contact us here. Because if you don't respond, they're pissed. Yeah. And so I think it's more of setting expectations, right?
What about Marquee? Is that a tool that you looked into leveraging?
I've never used them. None of our restaurants have used them.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
They basically act like an aggregator.
That's great.
Where they create a dashboard where you can pull all that information, but also push.
Yeah.
So now
that's a great tool. The Hootsuite was one in social when I was at Momofuku, which is probably, I don't even know if it's around anymore.
Yeah. And
there's also a company called Slang. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, Slang AI. I know they're doing a lot of cool partnerships with OpenTable right now.
They're doing great. Yeah, I met Alex, and he's really smart. And
I would love to get them on the show.
Yeah, I would love to make that introduction for you.
Please. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, that's a great example of like phone lines. Like we have one restaurant we work with out in Los Alamos, California. Well, in the California, kind of north of Ojai area. Greg Ryan, and since the day we met him, he's like, I do not have telephones in my restaurants. Yeah. And we're like, we love that for you. And of course he had people like bitched about it, right? They were like angry that he didn't have telephones.
Sometimes it's nice to be able to call while you're like, you don't want to be on your phone looking up the information because you're driving.
Right.
But that's where an AI bot, where you can call and have a conversation. I think that phones are going to come back because some people, I hate using these things to communicate. I'm holding my thumbs up right now. Have we mentioned we're dyslexic? Yeah. Like I make silly typos. I think you've experienced a couple of them already in the 24 hours.
I dictate all my texts. It's fine.
Yeah. And I talk funny apparently because my phone never knows what I'm saying. I just want to have a conversation with people. There's a reason why I drive across the country to have conversations because I don't like doing it through technology.
But I remember being so vividly. I was walking through Washington Square Park in New York. I was up there for work and I was talking to Greg on a call, and he was just like, we got to figure out Google Voice. I can't do it. I just remember because he just like, I appreciate that, having that, like, I won't open that channel up. And I was like, good for you. Don't do it.
We got 22 minutes.
All right.
22 minutes. OS benefits.
Let's do it.
Let's go deep into OS.
I have so much to talk about with this.
So when did you get the idea for OS benefits?
2021 on a run.
Okay. During a run.
During COVID. And yeah.
You're jamming next door, man.
I know. I hope you can hear this sick tunes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Just
going for it. This is some true New Orleans music right here. I was on a run, and it kind of dawned on me being like, there's got to be another path forward. And so I spent about 2 years tinkering. And I think everyone's like, why'd you do this? And I was like, well, grit and ignorance probably is why I built this company.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, particularly in this when it comes to healthcare. But I mean, I won't go into all the grid of like how we got there, but I would say the biggest turning point was we were tinkering, did an MVP, got into an accelerator program, realized we're really sitting on something that could be possible. And in 24, I found an insurance company that was willing to bind to us as an association. So we set up we went through all of this legal work, building trusts, associations, binding to every 50 states, a lot of work. And as a result, by doing that, we were able to bind to health insurance, and then we're able to open it up to all states, with the exception of Hawaii. I'm sorry, Hawaii. And then we're able to go to the races and find people. So we onboarded health insurance of June of 24. So let me take a step back. What it inherently is, it's a health tech company. I'm now a broker, a health insurance broker, to add on to something a bingo card I never imagined playing. And also life insurance and annuities. Let me tell you about studying for that. That was
Do you know bar and restaurant insurance, or barrestaurantsinsurance.com? My mind is thinking, I think I should introduce you guys.
Yeah, I would love to meet him.
He has technology, but as a broker, there might be.
So he's probably brokering directly, if I could imagine, not knowing this person. He's probably brokering directly with fully funded, like the United Healthcare's, Blue Cross Blue Shields of the world.
I think he's doing insurance though, not like health insurance. He does like restaurant insurance.
Oh, like general liability and things like that. Oh,
he's a broker for that type of insurance.
Oh, great. Yeah, I would love to meet him.
Sorry, anyway, I digress. Keep going.
No, not at all. No, I would love to meet him. So we sat there and said, okay, if we can get the association, we have the right insurance on hand, we could bind and make this health insurance available for every state in America. And now, so we launched our first pilot in June of 2024. We had 100% renewal into 25. So every 12 months, we have 100% retention. Wow. And we're like, oh shit, we're sitting on something. Nice. And so then at the same time, we built the entire tech stack, redid customer journey, built the tech stack, and now we have our health insurance, we're the benefits administrator, and we're the payment processor. Usually those three things are three different businesses.
Say that one more time. Health insurance, benefits,
administrator. So
what's that?
So we are the technology that administers the benefits. So right now, if anyone on this podcast is listening, you probably exchange PDFs with your broker. This could be for general liability for your company, all the way down to your health insurance. You're like, I need to get my census, I have to get social security numbers, I need date of birth, all this stuff.
What features do you want? What program do you want?
Exactly. So you get all this data, and you have to put it into an Excel sheet, and then you have to hand it over, and then you have one field wrong, and you come back, and you have to re-edit it and go back. And it's analog as hell. Just analog, back and forth. So we've completely automated it. You have 6 steps where you basically come in, give us the employee's name, first name, last name, email, and phone number, and we take care of everything else.
Okay.
You decide your contribution level, what plans you want of ours, and it takes you about 6 minutes.
So you customize it by employee. Per employee. It's a per employee customizable. Like you can set up your own plan, but you're under the umbrella of your employee.
Of your employer, yes.
Sorry, your employer.
Yeah, exactly. So your employer chooses to opt into health insurance, unlocks it for your entire company, and then you're off to the races.
Is it essentially because it's like purchasing like leverage, having all these people under one umbrella that is
economy of scale
benefits? Okay.
So we're the plan sponsor. We have economy of scale. We bind together. We de-risk the entire population. It really is, I don't say this in jest, like it is the first of its kind for this industry. Right. And we're able to bind anyone from 2 employees up to several hundred.
Do you have any stories associated with the success you've had, the feedback from the end user?
I mean, there's times where like people call me or like I run into them and they tell me like, if I didn't have this, what that would have happened. And it gives me chills. Give me one story. There was one person in particular that I ran into during Tales of the Cocktail, and they were telling me how they had an issue behind like their eye, and it turned out to be this like almost like torn retina mixed with like this like
and
spasm.
If they didn't have insurance, would they have gotten that checked out?
They would not have gotten it checked out, and the bill itself was like, X amount of thousands of dollars. I can't remember, tens of thousands of dollars. It was completely covered. And it would have put in medical debt, It's things like that, or people getting it for the first time ever, because they've never been able to afford it and to protect their children. And our plans truly meet the needs and the demand of our teams. They're built for our teams. They're built for the budget of our teams. And we're completely upfront. We give everything over upfront. You give your summary benefits and coverage. You get the formularies of all your drugs that you can get or can't get. We give you we give you an entire database of physicians that are on there and networks. We're in one of the largest networks, hospital networks in the system. And we sit there and say, you need to look at this and tell if it's right for you, come on. If it's not, we will find something else for you. Yeah. As a broker, now being a full broker, I'm appointed to other insurance carriers. I can go find you another plan.
So you said you're part broker, part tech. What was those 3?
So broker, benefits administrator / tech, like the tech product.
The user experience.
The user experience is fully automated. You can onboard and offboard your team in the platform. We have invoice, everything's in there. And then the last part is payment processor. So we also we're working with our bank to basically build in embedded payments. So we're taking it, we'll be able to pull in the money and send it out to the insurance carriers directly.
Okay. So you also work with insurance. So as the broker, you're working with insurance carriers. That's the broker part?
I am a broker.
Okay. So
take a step back. So it's kind of like, I kind of equivalent to like liquor, right? Or alcohol sales, right? You have the producer, distributor, and the retail or the end user, the restaurant. Right. I'm the distributor.
Okay.
So the producer is the insurance companies, the distributor is the broker, the end user is the customer.
Okay. Are you familiar with the companies like Mercer by any chance?
I don't know Mercer.
So I know this because my girlfriend is a project manager for Mercer.
Oh, cool.
And I think the way that I describe it, and I hope I'm doing a good job of this, she's probably going to listen to this because this is like in her wheelhouse. I hope I do a good job, babe. She's a project manager for Mercer. And the way that they kind of work with Fortune 500 companies where they have a program, an insurance program that they customize to optimize the benefits and the cost efficiency for do you kind of do that too?
So we have, what's a little bit different is that we have our own as an association, we have our own 4 plans, ACA compliant health insurance plans that are OS benefits plans.
So it's a plan. Your plan. You implement the plan for in this case, like Mercer works with like Fortune 500 companies, like big companies, like,
and we're doing for independents.
Yeah, and you do that for independents, where you kind of put the programming together and then you license the program out to the insurance company. Like, this is where I kind of get a little disconnected.
I see. No, yeah. Let me get a little simpler. So we are as a member. You join the association. You're in the pool. You're in the family. You're in it.
So the companies. Like, I know other insurance companies will use the Mercer plan. So Mercer sells programming to insurance companies, and those insurance companies like will lay out and implement the programming for the Fortune 500 company. So
no, we're a little different. So basically what it is that we negotiate with the insurance carrier. We bring those insurance plans into our ecosystem, along with over 30 wellness benefits from childcare, dog walking, women's health, culinary tools and apparel, continuing education. All of those are aggregated onto one dashboard. As an employer, let's say yourself, you sit there and say, I would like to be part of OS benefits. We're like, great, come on in. You buy into OS benefits, you unlock this whole world for your team, and you're off to the races.
Yeah. So I think what's cool about what Mercer does is they have all these data points, and they can see how the Fortune 500 company employee is using the insurance, and they can say, based off of your insurance plan and how your employees actually use the insurance,
claims and all that jazz,
there's a better way, there's a better package for you that's optimized for the demographic. The maybe there's a lot of people that share a similar sickness in your company, and like, you don't need this, but you need this. So they help kind of tailor the ideal coverage for the demographic, the usage of the employee.
So theoretically we could continue to do that as we evolve.
I was going to say, I think that could be,
because we're group buying power. So we could also sit there and say, here's our current plans, here's our next plans.
And with AI and all those data points,
we have all the claims.
Like, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of cool things happening right now. And I just wanted to plant that seed, because I learned a thing, only one thing about the world of insurance.
She'll be proud of you.
Yeah. I hope I probably totally exposed you, let's be honest. Anything else that hasn't come out in terms of what you're doing, important messaging you want to get out?
I think the biggest thing is, like, at Oyster Sunday, we love talking to new operators, learning and giving it being an open book. So if there's anyone out there that wants to talk to us, we do free consultations, give us a ring. And I think my last thing is for OS benefits specifically is that I think that care is an issue of care in this industry, of access to care and not going into medical debt, as we talked about earlier in the podcast. But I think it's also an enormous issue of recruitment and retention.
100. I was literally just thinking that.
Yeah.
How do people expect to treat us seriously? How do we go toe to toe with other industries for employment if we can't even offer insurance?
Right.
Sorry.
And I think, I'm with you. And I think that the market right now is in a tailspin when it comes to health insurance. And I think that the next generation wants more. And so I think that
they should demand
they deserve it. Yeah. And so I would just say, like, anyone who is interested in health insurance or knows someone else who is or needs it, like, we can bind people's little two groups, and that does not exist right now. Like, finding a medical plan for two people is hard, but we're aggregating all these people together. It's community and power. We're going for scale. The same way fractional work works, right? Like, we can fractionalize it to make everyone better. The same motto stands.
Yeah. How do I know once you guys gather some momentum, this thing gets big and there's opportunity for you to work with the bigger companies, you're not going to just focus on the 20 plus unit operators?
Listen, at Oyster Sunday, we had that option and we're not doing it. So
why not?
Because I believe in small business.
Why?
Because I love them.
Why?
Oh, I love this. Because it's the world I want to see myself in.
Why? Because
I rather have autonomy and agency of making change than to be a cog in a machine.
Is that 4 whys or 5 whys? I think that I might have one more why on you. Why?
Because I think innovation happens in small and independent business.
Yeah. And I mean, it's why I continue to focus on the independent operator as a host, because those are the people who need the help. And there's a lot of resources out there that focus on the big companies and covering the big companies, and to each their own, no shade. but if there's anybody who needs help, it's the independent.
Yeah.
And do we really want to shine an example and make an example of 100 unit plus operators? Like, I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not trying to throw shade. I need to learn how to be more diplomatic, but at the same time,
I hear you, but
it's just like freedom is my number one core value. And I do see, I'm very much tend to be in the middle of the road when it comes to more government or more freedom, like capital, but then corporations. And there's a balance to be struck. I don't want to see a future that is a corporatocracy. I think I'm saying that correctly, where like we are really close to that,
Yes.
How much of the world does Meta and Google influence? Two companies. How much influence do those two companies have?
Right.
I can't get through a day without touching that company at least once.
Right.
The answer to marketing right now is Google. And that terrifies me.
Yeah.
No company should have that much influence.
Yeah. But I think too, like anyone who's doing marketing, not just SEO, GEO, right? Generative engine optimization. Like everything is a feedback mechanism. It may not be quick enough, but I do think that the next generation is they're more analog. They're trying to be, it always, like the pendulum swings both ways. And I think that we'll feel it in politics, we'll feel it in technology, we'll feel it in humanity generally. And I think that we're in a far swing one way, and I think we'll swing back in the coming years.
1% of the population controls like 99% of the resources.
Right.
But when 99% of the people get on the same page and communicate and share decisions, and we consciously make purchasing decisions, conscious capitalism, that is what conscious capitalism is. Money still runs the show. And if we are very intentional about who we give our resources to, I think we forget that we have a lot of influence. And the restaurant industry is the second largest industry in the world.
I know.
Behind healthcare.
Yeah.
In government, technically, we're the third, right?
Right.
But I think we don't realize our influence, and we don't realize our ability to. It's the food and beverage. Like food has been changing we started this conversation earlier talking about how food popped off the scientific revolution. Our entire existence is given to food. We are because of our relationship with food. Food is life, and we are dealers of food.
Right.
We have a lot of influence. We can go further together.
Yeah. I mean, it's health, shelter, and food, right? The three most necessary things. We're tackling two of them. And we're not getting on shelter yet.
And the thing above that is being seen, hospitality.
Yeah.
I don't think we realize how important it is.
Yeah, community.
Beyond your physiological and security needs, it's being seen.
Yeah.
That's how human hospitality is.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you put it that way.
I agree. And robots won't do that.
Nope.
AI won't do that. But they do make things more efficient. So I'm here for it.
Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure.
It was fun.
Thank you.
I'm so happy we made this happen. I'm so happy I realized that you're not an oyster
I
restaurant.
am not. Last funny story to kind of come full circle on that. When we were going for our trademark, for Oyster Sunday back in 2019, I had to resubmit my application twice to prove how and which we did and not sell oysters on Sunday. I was like, I do not carry inventory. I do not have a brick and mortar. I do not purchase oysters. And they're finally, after 2 rounds, gave it to us.
Yeah. I like to wrap up every conversation by having my current guests call out my future guests.
Oh, so I love that.
I really have taken pride in trying to keep this as journalistic as possible. I don't want to be the one to decide who gets made an example of. So who do you respect and admire in the industry? Somebody who's doing it right, making money while making a difference. It's not all about money, but fiscal responsibility is important.
Yeah.
Who's making money? Who's making an impact? Who comes to mind?
Well, one from our conversation earlier is from Slang AI, Alex. You should definitely meet him.
Where's he based?
I believe New York City,
okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive of that, actually. I'll say yes to that. Chris Shepard. You got to get that guy on the pod.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Meltz from Empath out of New York.
Oh, I feel like I'm T-Rex over here, man.
You're a little...
Chris, I got to write these down.
Chris Shepard, and then Elizabeth Meltz.
Where's she, Elizabeth?
New York.
And what's her concept?
Empath. She does a lot of like mediation work, and in the industry, she's brilliant.
And what was in Slang? Who's the individual again?
Alex.
All right. Look out, Alex, Elizabeth, and Chris. That's 2 episodes in a row, Chris. I'm coming for you, man. I'm gunning for you, dude. I'd love to get you on the show. This is where I say thank you so much. And how do we follow up? I would love to have you do a Q&A and engage my community and Restaurant Unstoppable community to answer any questions after today's episode. So we'll have you there. And I didn't warn you that was coming, so
Sign
sorry
me
to
up.
blindside you. But how else can we connect if we're really interested in finding out more about what you offer?
Yeah, definitely. The 2 websites are oystersunday.com and then osbenefits.co are our 2 websites. And then if you want to get in touch with me directly, Elizabeth with a Z at oystersunday.com would be best.
Beautiful.
So get in touch.
Beautiful. And stick around for the closing thoughts. We'll have dates for you if you are interested in engaging Elizabeth and asking questions. We'll let you know when that's going down. And I cannot do what I do without people like you taking time to share their knowledge, perspective, and all you got going on, man. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Oh, thank you, Eric.
Cheers.
Thank you.